According to this, bears spawn right over here. I didn't know this. Oh, I think I've been out here once before, actually. Wow. There's a bear. And a corpse. Doesn't really make sense, but okay. It's a bush. It's too difficult for me to tame. No. Too difficult for me to tame. Name. Well, there's credit for one. Should have put a horse out here at this point. Well, on my log here, I've got some progress to do on a bear quest. Oh, I only need 2, though. So yeah, when I log back in, it'll give me credit.
Then that's not going to bode well for the game. It's going to stop getting funding, and like I said earlier, they've already scaled up to the point where they need that money to continue. So that would be ostensibly the death of the Star Citizen development, and they'd have to release as is, which is obviously not going to go very well. But at the same time, I'm interested to see when people do react to this portion of the video, what exactly is wrong here. Why was this article completely dismissed? Because it seems, while he is presenting the negatives, of course he is, that's the point of the article, and I don't see where the counter is to this, to be honest. But let's continue. Ship prices and FOMO practices employed by CIG. If you thought microtransactions that nickel and dime you at every chance they get were bad, wait until you see CIG's revolutionary macrotransaction setup. In fact, it's so revolutionary that the editor being used to write this article thinks the word is misspelled. So obviously he's using macro there instead of micro, because there's nothing micro about paying a couple $1,000s for a ship, to be honest. That isn't a microtransaction. So let's take a look at CIG's insane ship prices that you can pledge, not purchase, to support development of Star Citizen. And it has, of course, come out recently that the Advertising Standards Agency has been in touch with CIG and told them,
oh cool, there's scoundrels
you need to
right
make
here.
it clearer that people are buying concepts here and not an actual product, because these things don't exist. So people are paying for things, and it's not super clear that they're not actually getting it, because it's not been made yet, and you know, whether things go badly or not may never get made. That's the risk you're running. I don't think that's super likely, but it's not off the table either. So the Javelin is $3,000, concept price is $2,500, so you get a $500 discount if you buy it before it comes out. Kraken privateer is $2,000 and $2,000. The Kraken standalone price $1,650, price $1,650. the Idris P standalone price 1500, 1250, Idris M standalone price 1000, concept price 1000. As of writing this article, none of these ships are able to be spawned by players into the game. There is a mission that involves an Idris in the game, but there is no interior. Of course, all you need to do in order to play the game is pledge a $45 starter package, and many ships are purchasable with in-game credits if you're willing to grind in order to get them. That said, a lot of the ships that have been released into the game aren't able to be utilized to their full extent. For example, the Carrick, a $600 ship that is purchasable with in-game credits, is an exploration ship, but many players are still waiting for meaningful exploration gameplay. While Star Citizen does have some gameplay loops implemented, they are primary bare-bones versions of what they are supposed to do. A recent thread on the Star Citizen subreddit asked what gameplay loops backers would want if it could be 100% completed. Many backers asked for exploration, others wanted trading and mining, some added they just didn't want certain bugs / desync in the game. The most desired, fully completed feature backers wanted was trading, followed by the other category, which includes racing, piracy and exploration. Based on the responses from that thread, it's safe to say a significant portion of those who voted other, third place goes to salvage, a feature that has been constantly pushed back on the roadmap. With only one system in the game and many gameplay features missing, the majority of ships are empty shells of what they could be. However, CIG continues to sell ships and vehicles that are not in the game as a means to continue funding development. There is even a Legatus pack you can pledge that costs an astounding total of $35,000. Okay. Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. So for more information on ship pricing, you can find a comprehensive list here. I would rather not, personally. I think that was enough for me. So now he goes into detail, standalone prices versus concept prices and FOMO, fear of missing out. You may have noticed while browsing ship prices that there are standalone prices and concept prices. In addition to those, there are war bond prices as well. Okay, what's that one? This reflects a FOMO tactic used by CIG to entice backers to buy ships at a cheaper price. Buying a ship at its concept price in most cases means you will get it cheaper than when the ship is released in the game. Though some prices remain the same, many increase in price. As you can see with the Javelin, the concept price was $2,500 while the standalone is $3,000. While it is true that you can buy a starter package at $45 price point, CIG is well known for aggressive marketing techniques. During concept sales, the company will put a limit on how many digital assets are available to pledge as a means to generate artificial scarcity. Here is an example of one of their marketing emails. So here we go, don't miss your chance to pledge for the RSI Scorpius Crusader, Hercules Starlifter and Tumbril Nova. These ships will be leaving the pledge store on Wednesday, June 23rd, so act fast before they depart in 48 hours. The ships listed cost $220, $400 and $120 respectively. Right now there are 162 ships in Star Citizen, with 111 of them being fly ready, though not necessarily feature complete. That's actually more ships being ready than what I thought, and I assume it's some of the bigger ones that are going to be not finished yet, which would make complete sense. But yeah, that is more than I thought was going to be complete. I thought it was going to be much, much less than that. Now, obviously, devil's advocate here, pre-ordering things has existed for a very long time, and usually if you pre-order something, you're either going to get some perks or a reduced price, right? That's very common knowledge. That exists in most industries. That being said, there is an additional element to this that makes it worse, and likely why he's bringing this up, and that is because obviously the entire game's not done. If the game was finished and you were doing a pre-order on a ship that just wasn't in the game yet, and you know everything else was done, I don't think anyone would have a problem with this. But when you combine that you're pre-ordering something that isn't in the game, that is in a game that isn't even remotely close to being done, that obviously is the additional layer that makes this worse, and likely why he's bringing it up as a point, and not because he doesn't understand the concept of pre-ordering things giving you a reduced price, which is, like I say, it's prevalent in pretty much every industry. Star Citizen and Squadron 42's controversy. So in parallel with Star Citizen and Squadron 42's troubled development, the project has garnered a lot of controversy over the years. In 2015, Chris Roberts is quoted as saying, "By the end of this year, backers will have everything they originally pledged for, plus a lot more." That didn't happen, of course. This was supposed to include the single-player campaign, Squadron 42, along with a very early alpha of the Persistent universe by the end of the year. At bare minimum, they plan to have trading, mining, piracy, combat, as well as other core features developed by then. However, as of right now, Squadron 42 has no release date, and the most fleshed out feature in Star Citizen is arguably mining. Again, another thing that I don't really see how anyone defending this could have a counter to this. Like, what is the line of logic that people defending this are using to say, oh, that's not right, that's biased, that's too negative? I am honestly interested as well, because I don't have a dog in this race. I don't cover Star Citizen. I don't get views from Star Citizen. I'm not backing the game. I have no interest in seeing the game fail, because like I said at the beginning of the video, that is bad for everyone. If a $400+ million game just fails and vanishes, that is seismic ripples through the industry, specifically with crowdfunding. And I am an advocate for crowdfunding and for early access models. I play early access and crowdfunded games more than I do AAA games, so I have no biases against it. You know, they've not done anything to me. Chris Roberts has not came around and kicked my dog, so I have no issues with it whatsoever. Before people start calling me biased, which will probably happen, I just don't understand the logic behind how could anybody defend what has happened from then to now. Or is that straw man? Do people even defend this, or do they acknowledge this and just say it's not ideal, but I am still having faith in the project? Maybe that is the case. So where is Squadron 42? On their previous roadmap, CIG was supposed to have Squadron 42 enter beta by the end of 2020, but that changed when Q3 of that year came and went, with no indication the game had entered beta. In a response on Spectrum in October of 2020, Chris Roberts said, quote, "Squadron 42 will be done when it is done, and that it will not be released just to make a date." Understandable. In his reply, Roberts pointed out Red Dead Redemption 2, The Last of Us 2, and Cyberpunk 2077 as examples of games that had taken longer than planned. Granted, they also weren't in an alpha state after 10 years, or selling ships for thousands of dollars that weren't in their games yet. I mean, he's not wrong. I can't argue with the logic. He's not wrong. It is a low blow, and at the same time, Chris Roberts also has a point. He's on shaky ground, but games should release when they're done and when they're actually ready to be played and feature complete, as opposed to releasing just because they have to hit a date that they said. Cyberpunk 2077 is actually a perfect example of this. It needed more time, it released to meet a date, and look at how that turned out. Not as well as it should have done. So then we get to a roadmap to a roadmap. In an attempt to maintain transparency with their backers, Cloud Imperium Games released a roadmap to a roadmap. 1. Give an explanation of the goals of our new roadmap and what to expect from it. 2. Show a rough mock-up of the proposed new roadmap. 3. Share a work-in-progress version of the roadmap for at least one of our core teams. 4. And then finally transition to this new roadmap. Tyler Whitkin, Spectrum, July 2020. This news hit the internet by storm, I'm sure it did. The company was criticised by backers for not communicating the status of Squadron 42 until Massively OP and Kotaku had published articles regarding the issues. Tyler Whitkin, whose handle is XyloCIG on Spectrum, claimed that no one reacted because of an article, as it's not where we place value. Interestingly enough, Tyler Whitkin also supposedly played through all of Squadron 42 missions back in 2016. And as a quote here, question, "Have you been able to play through a single mission of Squadron 42 yet?" And he responds, "I have played through every mission because I come from QA and it was my job to do so." So we continue the article. Squadron 42 was apparently playable enough to get through every mission back in 2016, yet as of August's update report, the entire first half of Chapter 05 is just now playable from start to finish. Quote, "It has been great to see all this work pay off, as the entire first half of Chapter 5 is now playable from start to finish. This was no easy feat, as there were a lot of animations, 2 walk and talk sequences, and plenty of technical challenges involved." This is from the gameplay story team. So Squadron 42 is supposed to be a trilogy. Last year, CIG released an update video regarding this single-player franchise. It primarily showed the developers walking through an empty space station, theory crafting about what you could potentially do, and then showed some basic interactions with NPCs. Quote here from Ross, "Something you could do, or the AI could do, is you could come over to one of these consoles and interact with some of the screens and basically like get access to these server racks, and you could actually interact with them and then kind of have them lower into the floor." Oh, riveting. That's sick. In their series called Squadron 42, The Briefing Room, Ross goes over things you could possibly do in the event you were in a room with enemies. But rather than show any actual gameplay, the discussion revolves around the idea of what a player would be able to do. After 10 years and 400+ million, it seems the long-awaited single-player game is still a long ways off, and this is just for episode 1. So he keeps hammering home this point of 10 years and $400 million repeatedly in the article. Like every section is, oh, 10 years, 400 mil, 10 years, 400 mil, which again is not wrong, but I don't think it adds anything here. Like, we know at this point that that's going on, and it just seems like this is something that's going to get people more riled up than needs to be. So regarding the actual section talking about the playable missions and things like that, and the guy saying, "Oh, I played through all of them back in 2016," that doesn't necessarily have to be wrong, because as we've already proven throughout this article, they just increase scope ridiculously. And at the same time, maybe they had the bare bones of the quests back then, but it doesn't bode well when they say, "Oh, this chapter is now complete." but we can't show it to you 5 years after allegedly this guy could play through all of them. That obviously doesn't look good, but there you go. Physical products from the Kickstarter are still not delivered. Various physical products from the original Kickstarter have not been delivered to backers. Here's a list of them, excluding rewards that are duplicated at each tier. If this is true, this is particularly egregious. If you've not delivered a spaceship-shaped USB and things like that after 9 years of taking people's money, that's bad. So I'm not sure if this article is about to tell me, but somebody in the comments would have to let me know or link me to a source. Has anyone from CIG said anything about this and why they've not delivered them, or how much of this has been delivered and things like that? Because that to me is probably worse than not delivering on the game, because the game, you know, is really hard to make, and these other things are just like, how could you not have delivered those in this much time after taking money from people? So while CIG has stated that most of these items will be shipped when the game is complete, oh, there you go, I guess. At this point, the CD soundtrack is outdated, given that CDs are rarely used nowadays on PCs, beyond installing operating systems and certain software. That's true, I don't have a CD drive in my computer, I haven't for about 5 years. I'll give you guys a funny vision to put in your mind. It's 2030, Star Citizen has just released, and you've opened up your package from Kickstarter. Oh, it's a CD from Star Citizen, let me just bang that in my Sony Walkman, so I can walk around with my over-ear headphones on. You know, the ones that looked like the original Xbox headsets? Yeah, those. And you're going to walk around blasting your Star Citizen music on your CD player. That's fucking funny, bro. So despite the fact these physical goods have never shipped, CIG sells physical merchandise on their store, ranging from ship ornaments to Pico plushies. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I'd feel pretty hard done to if I was a Kickstarter backer. So the perspective I always like to look at things like this from is that of being thankful for what people have done for you, right? That's like a normal human emotion and something that I think everyone should be able to understand. Chris Roberts came into this with a dream, and he said, I've got this dream, this is my dream game, and I'm going to pay myself a good salary and set myself up for the future based on you guys. You guys are going to give me money, and I'm going to, you know, have my dream come true and work on my dream project where I'm in charge of everything. No publishers are involved or anything. I get the final say, and I can finally do what I always wanted to do, build a universe. And then the people who originally helped you realize that dream and got your foot on the ladder, you're not going to deliver them what they paid for, just purely on a technicality. As maybe it says when the game launches you'll get these things, but then you're going to sell other people things later on down the line, physical objects, and deliver those. Morally, I think that's wrong. I think legally, maybe they're fine. If on Kickstarter it says they're not going to deliver them until the release of the game, then the game's not been released and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think morally, I'd have a problem with that personally. That's just me. So while some players have reported receiving models, it is unclear whether those models were from the Kickstarter or purchased via the store. So this shouldn't be in the article then, based on that. If you can't confirm that people haven't received these, and I've just went on a tangent about it, don't put it in the article. That just discredits what you've already done. This is the first thing you've not linked a source for, and I'd just remove this. If you can't source it, if you can't know whether or not they've delivered them, it has absolutely no place in an article that is trying to be objective. So there you go. CIG has on occasion sold models such as the Constellation on its store for $125. Additionally, the higher tiers offered video conferences and even meeting Chris Roberts and key developers in person, but those have not been included as the physical products. CIG has since invited people to their studio multiple times, probably content creators and stuff like that, drum up marketing. But yeah, same thing as I said before, if you're capable of inviting other people, you should probably have invited the people who gave you that start to your dream. I think that's pretty objectively fair. While it's typically not a problem for a company to not ship physical products to backers until the project is complete, is it okay for a company to sell physical products on their store when they haven't even delivered the physical merchandise from the original Kickstarter? What do you think? Obviously loaded question, loaded way to present that. I agree with the premise if it's true, but you've not linked a source here, and you've just said, you know, it's unclear whether the models were from the Kickstarter or purchased via the store. I imagine not everything's been delivered, especially if it literally states they won't be delivered till the game's done, and I have a problem with that. But at the same time, this does weaken the objectivity of the article, which obviously already is coming at this from a negative bias. So I can start to understand a little bit as to why some of the people in the Star Citizen fan base were not receptive to this. But of course, most of the things he's brought up so far are not, you know, negative for the sake of being negative. They're negative because the actual thing is ostensibly negative. The court of public opinion, the controversy surrounding Star Citizen and Squadron 42 stretches back years. CIG has been sued by both companies and players. Crytek sued CIG for copyright infringement, a case which was ultimately settled out of court, and a backer sued CIG for $4,500 refund, but lost. I'm going to have to read into that one day. While legally, the court seemed to side with Cloud Imperium Games, the court of public opinion is harder to convince. Star Citizen has been called an outright scam by many, while others often make the joke that money laundering is involved. The majority seem to think it's simply mismanagement and underestimation about how long it would take to get certain things done. But is it really a scam, mismanagement, or simple ambition? Let's be honest, at the very least, it's not money laundering. If you want a good, fairly hilarious and neutral outlook on the project, have a look at TechLinked's video, where they approach the project from both sides of the coin. However, they've said some arguably questionable things. So here is a quote on screen from Riley Murdoch. I've not watched this video, just as a disclaimer, so I'm going to have to take this at face value. Quote, some people call Star Citizen a scam, and I don't think that is accurate. Even Butcher said it's not a scam, but the fact is people have been scammed by it. Okay, we'll unpack that in a second. So article continues, how can people not be a scam and yet people be scammed by it? You can't get scammed by something that's not a scam. Okay, we're going to have to unpack this. In this segment, Murdoch says that Star Citizen wasn't presented as an ongoing alpha project, but that it was constantly portrayed as something that was 2 years from release. He, quote, blames Chris Roberts and CIG for constantly acting like the game would be, quote, released within the next couple of years. And frankly, he's right. The game always seems to be 2 years away. It's actually become a meme at this point within the community. CIG is constantly putting the carrot in front of the horse, only to end up releasing a feature in a literal tier 0 state. This has often caused friction within the community, and as a result caused people to lose faith in the project. Okay, so let's unpack this idea of it being a scam or not a scam and people still being scammed by it. Now, the guy writing the article seems to think you cannot get scammed by something that isn't a scam. But if you look at the legal definition, and we have to assume that they are using the legal definition because they didn't give any other presentation of it, or at least the article didn't show it. If they're using the legal definition of it, a scam is, quote, making a false representation and dishonesty, knowing that the representation was or might be untrue or misleading. Now, for you to say that Star Citizen is a scam using the legal definition, you would have to be able to prove intent from Chris Roberts, which means you have to either crawl into his mind, Vulcan mind meld that motherfucker, or get him on tape saying, yeah, I knew I couldn't release the game for multiple years, and I just sold
better
people
go
that
home.
idea anyway to take their money. In which case, then you have intent to scam people, to defraud people, to take money from people based on things he knew he couldn't do. But if it's just mismanagement, incompetence, and things like that, I've made this distinction and had this conversation multiple times in my own videos. You can start out completely well-intentioned and say you're going to be able to deliver these things and just not know. And therefore, you're not actually scamming people, but the result of people buying into your idea that cannot be fulfilled in the time frame that you've said and in the way that you've said, they are being scammed, but there is no intent to scam them, or at least you cannot prove that intent. If you could, you would win a court case. If you could prove that they intended to scam people, then you would win in court, but you can't because you can't prove their intent was to do that unless you have some kind of recording or, like I say, you can get inside his mind. People throw the word scam around all the time, a lot of the time because they either don't understand what a scam is and that it has a legal definition, and then don't outline what they mean by scam if they're using the word for, you know, some kind of impact and to grab headlines and to, you know, shock people into things, which I use sometimes as well. I use the word scam because I do believe if you are running a project that will fail because all the fundamentals are completely wrong and you seem like a dreamer or you're
just like a dreamer,
you might not intend to scam people, but the end result is exactly the same. You are selling people on something that you cannot deliver, whether that's by being intentionally malicious or dishonest or by incompetence. You are scamming people. You are just not an actual scam by the legal standards. Hopefully that makes sense. Maybe it won't for some people, and obviously everyone can have their own opinion on this. That's just mine. But I do understand what he means by people being scammed by it, but it isn't a scam because they have a product, you can buy the product, and you can fly around in it and do whatever's available in Star Citizen already. So, yeah, there you go. So no refunds after 30 days, the grey market. From actual refunds to the subreddit Star Citizen refunds, finding a way to recoup losses is a common theme of Star Citizen. After years of waiting, many backers decide they want out. But now you cannot get refunds after 30 days time window of purchasing the game. The only recourse a player has is to go through the grey market. The grey market is where a backer can sell their ships to other players in an attempt to get back their money. This is a win-win for both the backer and CIG, as the backer gets back some of their money and CIG loses none. In some cases, a backer may even get more money if they are selling the ships that they bought at the concept price, which, if you remember earlier, was when you bought them early before they were actually made and put in the game. You got them for cheaper sometimes. There are actually multiple sites where you can get ships. You have Star Hangar and Space Foundry that will help players either buy or sell ships. It's important to note, however, that it's easy to get scammed selling things on the grey market in general. Always know who you are dealing with when going through the grey market. Of course, same with anything. Real money trading, real money economy exists in pretty much every online game ever. People selling accounts, selling boosts, selling currency or items. The refund subreddit can also be a helpful resource when it comes to the grey market. There are users that often help those wanting to sell their ships and recoup what they have spent on the game. The community is also responsible for the album of quotes created by user Quavers and Whatsits. Whatsits are my preference, to be honest, that sources various quotes from CIG, some of which are featured in this article. Now, I actually think it's kind of funny that there's a lot of games that kind of emulate in Star Citizen at this point on the blockchain and using NFTs. And I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that if Star Citizen was announced in 2021 and not in 2012, they probably would have done it with NFTs and on the blockchain, and it would have made sense for the project and what they're trying to do. But in an alternate universe, as a thought experiment, I think that probably would have happened, solved some problems, made some problems worse. So then he ends the article. This is the last one. This has been a very long video. Should you get Star Citizen? Whether or not Star Citizen is a game you should get is up to you. So it doesn't really answer the question. Just use that as a tagline to drag people into the article, which is totally fine. Clickbait is you know, required on the internet. If you're not clickbaiting, somebody else is, and you're doing a fucking disservice to yourself and your content. Are you comfortable with backing a game that is still an alpha with a lot of bugs? Are you okay with supporting a project that has been delayed many times with the director saying he is unwilling to compromise? I mean, if you ask those questions, most people are going to say probably not, but we will present a differing viewpoint in a minute. It's been 10 years since development started, 9 since the Kickstarter, and 400+ million. How much longer will be needed to develop the project? Chris Roberts seems to have the answer, and here's a quote from Chris Roberts from September 2020 on the RSI forums. Quote, "Pretty impressive for a game in an early alpha state. I can promise you the gameplay I described is not a pipe dream, nor will it take 10 to 20 years to deliver." Pretty interesting quote. It's already taken 10 years, so, you know, there you go. He's obviously talking about not taking 10 to 20 years from now in September 2020, which hopefully not, because holy shit, by that point it probably would be super out of date anyway, so there you go. And then he ends the article by saying there's a free fly going on right now where you can give the game a shot and make the decision yourself without paying a dime. Very good idea. If you're going to get into Star Citizen, do so on the free fly, where you can test the ships out and things like that and get to know what is already in the game and what you're going to be getting yourself into.
80 gold.
Who knows, maybe you will have an unforgettable experience. True. Crowdfunding is basically the Wild West of gaming. It's the American dream in the virtual world, but will you find milk and honey along with streets paved with gold? With high risk comes great reward. However, just remember to use common sense and never spend more than you are willing to lose. I would say even if Star Citizen is an amazing game, so long as you can still buy the ships and they're not limited time, there's no fucking point buying them at this point. You might as well just wait until the game's finished and then buy them, unless you're buying to experience what the game is right now, in which case, go wild. And I'll end the video basically mirroring that. Obviously, his "should you get Star Citizen" is very negatively leaning, because that was the basis of the article, to present all the bad things, and it doesn't present a single good thing about the game from start to finish. I've got a lot of friends and a lot of people on my Discord server that are very invested into the idea, either emotionally, financially, or mentally, into Star Citizen, and most of them can agree it's not in an ideal state, and the game could be better, and it's not super acceptable that they're this long into development and this much over budget, and this is what they've got to show for it. But at the same time, if you're buying in like a small package and you enjoy the idea of what Star Citizen is, you can probably get more than your money's worth. Think of it like buying into early access at this point. The game might never get finished, in which case you're going to be out however much you spend. But if you look at what the game currently is, and you think that's worth my $45 or whatever to jump in, or whatever price tag you put on it as your initial, you know, investment into getting into the game, if you look at it and think it's worth it right now, you're not getting scammed, you know, you're going to get an experience which hopefully you'll enjoy. And then if you get anything else extra down the line, which you most likely will do, that's just all gravy. At least you're not one of the people who bought in 2012, and then you probably most likely would have had a more sour taste in your mouth to this point, you're getting in fresh, and maybe you can enjoy what the game has for now, which, to be fair, has come along leaps and bounds. Not as much as I would hoped it would have done for the amount of money and time, but they do have a game that looks stunning and it has features that are pretty crazy and epic in my opinion. So there you go. This is the article. Star Citizen, a $400+ million gaming project with no release date in sight, posted in 2021 August 19th by Tech in Gaming. And I think it was a very good article, although obviously very negatively leaning, and that was the purpose. But there you go. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Appreciate you all. Stay safe out there. We're out. Peace. Hello friendos. So today we're going to talk about Star Citizen, which is not something I typically do on the channel, mainly because I don't play the game and because the fan base typically are one of the ones that get quite upset when people who don't play the game talk about it, even though I think this is a fairly interesting topic overall for everybody that should have any form of interest in it, if they're getting into it, if they've already been into it, whatever it may be. So Star Citizen player gets a partial refund from CIG in spite of the studio's legal arguments to the contrary. So basically what somebody did, there's a subreddit out there called Star Citizen Refunds. Apparently that's a thing that needs to exist, where people just give advice on how to get refunds on their pictures of spaceships that they may or may not have spent hundreds of or thousands of dollars on. Maybe a decade ago, maybe 5 years ago, however long it's been. It's been in development for quite a while. He basically followed one of the guides on there, which is like, oh, if you're from the UK, do this specific method of refund, argue that you're going to take them to small claims court, and they should give you your money back, because essentially what people are getting refunds for and stating in the request is that we bought things based on the promise of X, Y, and Z being in the game, and then this many years later, maybe we've got a little bit of X, a little bit of Y, and none of Z, but either way, you've not fulfilled on what I expected to get, so therefore I want my money back. Now, this particular user is from the UK, and he cited the UK Consumer Rights Act, and basically they came back and said to him, you've played 274 hours worth of the game since 2022, which, quote, shows use and enjoyment of the game and rebuts the false allegations that the game has not been released. Now, that's a very... I will just show you here where they say this. Specifically, this is the legal letter that he posted so people could check it online, and they do say this in their response, that the game has been released, basically, or at least that's what people are taking away from it, because they talk about over and over again in the letter. I'm not going to read the whole thing. They've got essentially a persistently released game. They release quarterly updates for it, and basically you can't really complain about there being bugs and stuff, because before you check out buying something on Star Citizen, it tells you that the game is essentially going to be buggy and things like that, so you have no right to complain. I'd obviously argue that you have every right to complain as a consumer. You bought something, you expect that it's going to be a certain kind of way, and also if your game's been in development for 10 years, over 10 years at this point, people should probably not only expect but demand more from a product that has raised over $600 million in crowdfunding. I think that's perfectly reasonable, although I'll probably be branded as a hater for that take. What is interesting to take away from this, though, is that CIG, Cloud Imperium Games, consider Star Citizen to be released. They consider that the game is a released product, which is a little bit confusing in a way. Obviously, it entirely depends on the legal semantics of how you're arguing what is a release, what isn't a release. But I think personally for me, if I was to have a conversation with people who are into Star Citizen, some people are going to say it is a released game, some people are going to say it isn't. So I don't think this is a huge gotcha that a lot of the detractors are saying. But at the same time, if it is released, that means obviously a lot of the stuff that people have complained about before does have way more credence now. Correct me if I'm wrong, and don't use this as like a market against the game or company or anything, but I do remember a while ago people talking about certain backer rewards from Kickstarter not being sent out yet. And the argument was, oh, they're going to be sent out when the game is released, and then their lawyers are saying the game is released. So a little bit mixed messaging there, and also a little bit weird that they did refund this person, despite in the letter essentially saying we don't owe you a refund and legally we're not obligated to do so, but in good faith because you supported the game, we're going to give you a refund. Obviously not a legal expert, but it seems like they're doing this with a legal response to the threat of going to small claims court and to show and probably to try and dissuade people from keep doing this. Who knows? Complete speculation on my part. I will say that it is probably a good shout that CIG and their retained law firm or in-house lawyers, I don't know what their situation is, probably don't want to get into some kind of public pissing contest about whether we're entitled refunds or not. I say we, I mean they. I don't think I ever bought a Star Citizen. I got no dog in this race, whatever that saying is. Because obviously a lot of people's buy-ins included Squadron 42, as is listed here, and Squadron 42 doesn't exist. Nobody's played it. It isn't out. You can't go on it. So therefore, you've obviously not got what you paid for because you don't have that game. What I do think is interesting, and what I did want to point out, is the difference in tone and understanding and takeaway from not only this article, but what CIG have said, essentially with the game being released and things like that, between the Star Citizen subreddit and the anti-Star Citizen subreddit. We could probably categorize it as a pro subreddit and a negative subreddit. So on the negative subreddit, where the guy's talking about, I've got my refund and here's the legal letters, this comment, lol 30 days is not goodwill, it's legally obligated in a lot of places. True. Not in the UK though, I don't think. TOS doesn't overrule country laws. True. UK law is trailing a bit here. The time for refunds is 30 days, but digital content's 14, and obviously this is digital. Yeah. I think the biggest takeaway here, beyond the refund obviously, is that the game is claimed to be released. Legally speaking, this is a huge thing that everyone should be aware of. I absolutely agree. This means they consider that releasing an alpha isn't a test environment, but is a live production environment. I think this, without them saying it, was kind of common sense. Although again, people will always go back to the is this a released game? Could you look at this and be like, yes, we have released? They've obviously released something, but is this Star Citizen released? I think legally, yes, but I think most people would struggle to say that it's a released product in terms of what it should be as a released game, right? But there's a whole conversation to get in there, so it's probably not one I'm going to go super in-depth on. So not only is this the perfect juice to fight this inbreed Jept, it means, I don't know what the fuck that means. It means legally they consider that they've achieved the initial goal of the Kickstarter. I don't think that's what this means, to be honest. Given how they clearly didn't, this means SC is officially and legally a scam. Congratulations. And obviously a lot of the comments is basically reiterating the same point, going over how, Star Citizen's a scam, etc, etc. So I don't think this means Star Citizen is officially legally a scam because their lawyers said it's released. A lot of people don't understand, obviously, that legal definitions for things and your or my or the industry's definition for things are two completely different. It's not even in the same fucking ballpark for conversation. And this is obviously not me going to bat for CIG, because I personally have opinions about Star Citizen and how it's essentially a fucking joke that's been in development for this long and people still keep giving them money. I think mostly based on some costs.
Gonna go pee real quick, I'll be right back.
Stop giving them money. What's it all been for? And there's not really many games or any games that are doing what Star Citizen's doing. I just don't like the fervent hate or fervent fanboyism on either side. I think there's a lot of good things about Star Citizen, and a lot of people really enjoy the game for what it is. But I don't think that means you should ignore the fact that obviously it's unacceptable to be this far on and still have so many missing promises and deadlines that are just completely ignored, and it's just unacceptable. But that being said, not a scam by illegal definition just because they said it's released. And also, at no point does this mean that they have said legally they consider the goal of the Kickstarter to be achieved at all. There is obviously a difference between a released early access product and a released finalized finished product. If the legal response had said we consider Star Citizen to be a fully finished game and not in early access or alpha, which they literally do mention the word alpha at some point here, playable alpha early access since 2016. So yeah, at no point did they say that they consider this to be a fulfillment of the Kickstarter. So going a little bit too hard on that one, but yeah. You then obviously look at the Star Citizen, so the pro Star Citizen subreddit and their response to this. 0 upvotes on the thread, 32 comments, so it basically got killed in new. Anybody who saw this immediately downvoted it, which means it's not going to get a lot of traction whatsoever. Holy shit. Dude played 274 hours in 2022. In 2023, CIG still refunded some of his money. According to him, it was $250, and they refunded all of it. It was like $1 or something he didn't get back that was in currency on the store or whatever that he didn't spend. So props to CIG support. That's a step above and beyond the Call of Duty. Bullshit article, but amazing job CIG. Now, I will make a concession here and say actually good job CIG, because there's a lot of companies that wouldn't have refunded him, but at the same time I wouldn't really go so far as to say like, oh, you know, good job, because I do think they legally owe him a refund, as I would think they legally owe anybody a refund who bought a product that says we're gonna have this, this and this, but then they don't, and like 8 years overdue on those things that they still don't have. But it's increased in scope, because this is what Star Citizen fans always do. I've had quite a lot of conversations with quite a lot of people, because I've made a few videos about it before. Not the most informed person on Star Citizen, by the way, so you can definitely hold that against me. But I think a lot of this is just surface level stuff that matters for business and projects in general, and just life, than the minutiae of like, have I played Star Citizen for 500 hours, so do I know anything about the game? No, but I know stuff about, you know, consumer practices and things like that, and generally how projects should be handled. When a company says we're going to give you this stuff and you give us this money, and then they don't give you that stuff, the game has inarguably increased in scope, it's bigger, it probably has a lot of stuff that we didn't promise in the Kickstarter, but it's not a finished game. And they also have a lot of stuff missing that they promised in the Kickstarter, and also a lot of promises in the remaster, which people obviously saw and spent money on and bought into the game and funded the project, that still hasn't been delivered. So at that point, regardless of how big and epic the game is now, people are still owed refunds if they bought for something that doesn't exist and a game that isn't fully, you know, done and has the things that they wanted. Again, a lot of companies wouldn't have refunded, but then you would be, even as a fan, you should be chastising the company. I don't think you should be praising people for doing what I see as the bare minimum of what they would be legally responsible to do. Maybe not legally responsible, we'd have to see if somebody took them to court over this. But obviously, even if somebody lost, that doesn't necessarily mean that CIG would be in the right. It could just mean in that jurisdiction, or that person who had the lawyer that fucked something up didn't make a good enough point about it, or whatever else. It's a whole story. I don't think the article's particularly bullshit, but yeah, good job CIG for giving somebody money back, that backed the project that hasn't done exactly what they said they were going to do, which sounds mad sarcastic. Alternate title for a product after they've played for a year. Yeah,
35.
I think you should always be able to get a refund on early access products. I think you should be able to on Steam as well, because obviously you buy into something on early access. Usually the early access tag is a promise that you're early now, but later there's going to be more stuff and it's not going to be early access and it's going to be finished. So I don't understand this like constant go after like, oh, we played it a lot, so therefore you shouldn't get a refund. You could obviously say if we even go back to the definition of what is an alpha, it's a test. What's a beta? It's a test. So if somebody's in an alpha, you could quite easily make the same argument that they're not playing it, they're testing it, because that's what you're doing in alpha and a beta. So they paid money and are helping the product by not only financially supporting it, but by testing things and presumably then providing data on what needs to be fixed, and obviously being on the server, which makes networking, troubleshooting easier. So to turn around and say like, oh, you know, he played it for a bunch of time and therefore he shouldn't be able to get a refund, I think he's completely missing the point, and you could easily argue against that as a basis for why you shouldn't be entitled money back for, you know, backing a product that isn't fully released. What's with a hate boner for trying to spin this as a bad thing? Easily say what's with a, what is it a love boner if it's not a hate boner? Spinning this is a good thing. How many companies out there would give somebody any sort of refund at all after they played it for a year? I think they're probably more worried, again, like I said earlier, about the fact that the people do have a point. And if you don't see that people have a point, I think you're probably a little bit too close to this. I think if you looked at any other product or anything else, you would probably see it a little bit clearer if you wasn't a fan of the thing. It's just what happens. I'm not trying to be a dick or anything. It is literally just what happens when you're too close to things. Your best friend or the love of your life could do something fucked up, and you know, you're more likely to be accepting or forgiving of that thing than you are a complete stranger. It's just a fact. I'd be ashamed of asking for a refund after playing 274 hours, but I guess that's just me. I wouldn't be. Again, if it was a norm, I would completely agree with this sentence and this sentiment of all these comments if it was just a normal game that had come out and somebody played for, like, I've said this a million times, I even fucking disagree with people that leave negative reviews on games that haven't substantially changed or done something crazy when they played the game for a long time. You go on Steam all the time and I laugh when I see them because I think it's pathetic when somebody's played a game for like 1,000 hours and then they're like, do not recommend, I played this game for 1,000 hours and loved it and blah 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 blah, and then they just got jaded and just stopped enjoying the game, and then they're like, I do not recommend it. It's like, motherfucker, you played it for 1,000 hours, like, and insert any other number than 1,000, but is a lot over what most people normally play a game for. It's like, I think that shit's dumb. I think if you've enjoyed something for a lot of hours, that you know, you shouldn't be leaving negative reviews, you probably shouldn't be refunding your money. But if the game's in early access or an alpha or whatever, and they're taking too long and you're just sick of it and you're done, you should be able to get your money back. I don't think people in the community should be chastising people for doing something that is so common sense and so reasonable. Not everybody has their entire life to just wait for a game, and maybe you need or want that $250 back or whatever the sum of money is to do something else that you have more faith in, and that you know, it's hard to enjoy something when you feel like the people that are involved or the people that are running it or whatever else are, you know, doing something negative that you just can't get behind. But it's funny, comments like this. I myself backed mid-2018 and have something around 2,000 in the game, and I basically regret every euro, but never did it cross my mind to whine around for refunds, as I have probably 300 hours in the game. That's fine if you don't want to. I would suggest you do get a refund, because you were sold a bill of goods, and the bill of goods it's not been delivered, has it? Whatever was on that bill is not completely delivered. If you don't want to, and you just want to leave your money in as support.
I'm looking into Dual Universe again. Dual Universe was the game that Marquis Dragon was playing, and if he liked Dual Universe, it's probably actually really good. This $21 million game is dying 2 months after launch. Dual Universe is still dead. Played the beta heavily. Should you play Dual Universe in 2023? But it's dead, right? It's like dead. I think it is dead. It's an unfortunate. Like, let's look at filters of like this month. Like this month, right? Week 76, 98 days ago. From week 76, featuring food trucks to market 6. So it's like a dead MMO now. Like, it has a lot of cool scope. I've seen this game. I know it's got a lot of cool scope. But I don't It looks like such a fucking time eater.
This is the VF-4A Lightning III, a very fun ship to fly. The Lightning is a collaborative effort by Booty Banzai, Yes Man, and Tony Stark. It's on sale now at Starwatch, near Market 17 in Nitro City. You can check out DU Creators for more info. Links are in the description. Dude, there's like... we got like a little food truck circle. I want a cocktail. I feel like a short kid, dude. Hey.
It was enough. This is like this guy. Dual Universe was cool, but I don't think it's my game. It's too slow, but I was curious about it, but I don't think this is it. I don't think so. Making Green Man. Yeah, I mean, like, the game is still going. And I think it's probably got enough to turn my head, but I don't think it's my game. It's too slow. I don't know. Looking for hard MMOs, and I think this is it. This is the game, but like I don't want to join a guild and do all their stupid sob stuff. I've done that enough in EVE Online. I don't really want to be a slave to some fucking corp. I don't really want to do that. I need to make a name for myself solo and build my own house. Probably like right here too. I'll build a house like right the fuck here. I just I don't know. I feel glad that I am out to do a history and not trying to make a living doing this. I feel so happy. No matter what, I'm going to be okay. I see all these people getting like 8 views. That seem like they should get a lot more. I look through YouTube and I'm like, wow, this person got 8 views with all that work and all that thumbnail time and editing and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I just came at the wrong time. It's over. It was dead when I got here. And I'm glad I could do what I did. And I'm going to keep on trying to do forward what I've been doing. What's that? Oh, they're bear pigs. Maybe the Belbus might like to eat pig. Yeah, maybe I should kill a pig, huh? Yeah, because the Belbus will want to eat. I'll kill 2 pigs. I love my spirit actually hurts. I do like how low key Mortal is. It's very slow most of the time. Like slower than Rust. It's a wolf. I want 2 wolves. Yeah. Oh, I killed one. Oh, well, that's okay. I probably should kill one. Too difficult, damn it. Alright, well. We'll try him. Oh no, don't run away from me, motherfucker, man. Oh, you son of a bitch. So I'll just stop and... Yeah, maybe that'll stop him. I'll heal. Because we definitely don't want to die out here, I'll tell you that. I'll try and tame him. I can hear my computer chugging from this stupid game. Because it's not very optimized. Stupid wolf, you like forgot about me. Too loud. Never mind, we'll just listen to the video. Let me tame. Let me tame. First time. Come on, let me do it. First time, first time. Damn it. Oh, well, it'll give me a skill up. Stupid wolf. Don't run away. Fucking annoying. I hate this system. My taming's high too. Now each time is a little bit of skill up. Shut up, you and just tame. There. Let me get him finally. Aww. Let me get him. Let me get him. Let me get him. Give it to me. Let me get him. Let me get him. Let me get him. Give him to me. Let me get him. Let me get him. Let me get him. Give him to me. Damn it. Damn it. So annoying. It takes for fucking ever. Oh, I failed. The system's kind of dumb, frankly. Damn it. Damn it. Come on, let me get him. Let me get him. Let me get him. Let him get him. Let me get him. Let me get him. Let me. Oh, I lost it. Oh. Stupid wolf. I mean, hey, it's XP. It seems like nothing's happening, but I'm actually getting good skill up on tame, which is alright. I've been trying so long to get this wolf, man. This is totally unacceptable, the amount of time. Please let me have him now. Aww. Stupid wolf. Please let me have him now. It's gone on too long now. You really get to let me have this now. Oh my god. Yep. I'll get him. Please let me have him. Yeah, let me get a chance here. Let me get a chance here. Don't fail. Don't fail. Oh. Oh. Ah. Let me train. Let me train. Let me train. Let me train. Yes. Come on, let me train. It's just ridiculous. You've gone on too long now. It's so stupid. Let me train. Let me train. Oh my god, let me train him. No. Stupid wolf. Let me train. Let me train. Let me train. Let me. Oh. Damn it. Alright, well. Oh, let me go. I shouldn't have. So annoying. Oh. Spazzy as hell. What? Oh my god, what? So annoying. What? I'm so sick of bad fucking hitboxes. I'm so sick of them. Oh my god, you're annoying. You gotta stop torturing me, man. Oh. There, finally. Try again. It's never been this hard. Give me my fucking wolf. I've tried so many times now in a row. You gotta just give him to me. No. Seems so unfair. Should tame him. Tame him. Aww. Aww. You waste so much of my time. It's so annoying. Stupid janky ass system. Oh my god. Oh my god, let me tame him. Please, 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 please. Yes, keep going. Please let me have him. Please let me have him. Please let me. Oh. Someone here? What does that sound? No. Please let me have him. Please let me have him. Oh my god, you're so annoying. Please let me have him. Please let me have him. Oh. Stupid wolf. Please let me have him. Please let me have him. Nope. I should just give up. I just can't seem to get him. He must be too high level or something. That must be what I'm seeing. He's just too high level. I'm going to give up, man. This took way too long. I'm not even going to loot that. I'm going to go to the Belbus now and just get it out of the way. I bet I can train him. Is that a Belbus? Yeah, let's see if I can get him. Fuck, there's 3 of them. Yep. Okay, what do you say about him? Start taming. I think I can probably get him. Nice. Fail. You can hurt me if I get to tame you. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Good. I got him. Okay. Pet points are 40 out of 61. Yeah. Good boy. Now we're gonna turn the sound way the fuck down because it's way too fucking loud. Yeah, like that. Do not kill me. Do not kill him. No, don't kill him. Don't kill him. He's a good Balbus. No. You must heal. You must heal him. Yes. You die, dirty evil Balbus. Are we okay? Yeah, you're okay, huh? Yeah, you're okay. It's alright. Balbus. He's a level 25. His loyalty is 100. His hunger is 304. Did he finish eating? No, he's still eating. He shall be my pet for a while. He shall be my attack tool. And all pets follow. Yep. His hunger's 14. He finished eating. His hunger's very low. I've got food for him. Alright. What's that over there? What is that? I think it's a horse. I kind of want to kill this guy. I probably will. I'm gonna go kill that guy right there. I'm gonna sit now that I'm No, don't hurt him. I mean, yeah, but I suppose it's skill up to learn how to skin their corpses, yeah. It was. I'm gonna bang this guy right here. I think I'm fucking fairly certain of it. I don't know why I used my cooldown. I will patiently wait for it. So where am I now? Keep going.
Autopilot engaged. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive engaged. Warping to Stargate. Warp drive active.
I think. Oh, shoot!
What? Hopefully eventually it materializes. Cool. Good on you. But obviously other people don't have to abide by your fucking morals or whatever you think is ethical or whatever else,
Approaching
whatever
Stargate.
word we're using here for this. So yeah, I've said this a million times, I don't want to call Star Citizen a scam, and I don't think it is. I just think that the narrative on both sides it's so fucking boring. It's so tired. It's like it's like politics almost. Like everyone who's pro the game hates everyone who's negative the game, and they've got their own subreddits now because Reddit is a fucking just toxic cesspit of just echo chamber, because eventually after getting downvoted to the point where nobody sees your comments you leave, and then they make a new subreddit, and there's no discourse between these two groups whatsoever, so they're talking past each other about shit, and then obviously people are just going to go down with the ship in terms of like the people who really hate it aren't ever going to agree with anything that people who really love it say. It's just really sad. Do I think Star Citizen's a scam? No, not in the strictest sense, not in the legal sense. Do I think it's unreasonable that Star Citizen said that they were going to do, a certain amount of things a long time ago, and then decided with a vote that didn't include everybody? And even still, a vote is like when you promise people a bunch of stuff, and then later on say we're holding a vote, and it's like quite close. Even if it's not close, there's going to be some percentage of people that you just owe their money back, just full stop, because they bought in on this part, and then you said we're doing this part, and we voted for it, and the majority said we want this. A lot of people who bought didn't even know the fucking vote happened and don't care. And anyone who buys in after, if you believe the hype and you want to get into the game, I think they're fine to get a refund as long as they're buying into an early access. So just because the stuff's not been delivered fully, so therefore they've not got what they paid for in the strictest sense. So, but then you could obviously make the argument that if people know it's in early access and they bought in, at this point, I think if you bought in recently, you have much less of an argument, but still an argument to get your money back. If you bought in way back when, over a year, 2, 3 years ago, you 100%, I have absolutely fucking zero qualms about anybody getting a refund, and see no argument anyone could make having any validity whatsoever about why they shouldn't be entitled to their money back. But there we go, that's Star Citizen. I'm sure there'll be an interesting like-dislike ratio on this video, and a lot of comments telling me I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And maybe I don't, but I think a lot of this shit is common sense, and you could look at remove the tag Star Citizen off of this and replace it with any other game, any other product, any other walk of life, and I think most people are just common sense going to agree that if you buy something and it's not been delivered, you should be entitled to a refund, digital product or not. But there we go. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Peace.
Today's video is brought to you by our friends over at manscaped.com, the global men's lifestyle
Thank you, some more new
brand that
gamers
has
that
the
like
right
to sub to your
tools
channel.
for you. But today's video is for the dads.
Autopilot
Now,
jumping.
ladies and gentlemen, Manscaped is trusted by over 8 million men worldwide for their trimmers, hygiene formulations, and of course those premium boxers. Now, of course, if you're looking for the perfect gift for Father's Day, look no further than Manscaped. Ladies and gentlemen, they've got the, no, not this trimmer. We're not going to talk about balls and dads together. In fact, we're going to talk about beard hedgers. The beard hedger trimmer is a great gift for any dad who loves tech and new gadgets. It's got a 7,200 RPM motor and titanium-coated T-blades to cut through the thickest of hair in a single stroke. It's also got a rotary wheel, so you can actually get 20 different hair cutting lengths, so no messy drawers full of all the attachments you need for your beard gadgetry. You've also got a Weed Whacker 2.0 for all the dads who start showing a little bit too much forestry going on in the ears and nose. It's got a 7,000 RPM motor with a 360-degree rotary dual-blade system, so your dads can whack all their weeds. And if you're wondering, Muda, it also doesn't have skin-safe technology. You bet the engineers put skin-safe technology so you can reduce all those nicks and cuts, especially in the most sensitive nether regions. And on all these products, it's got wireless charging, so your dad's gonna freak out at the magic of technology. It's also got a tri-battery level, meaning that you'll know just how much charge you have left. And if you want to give your dad both, get the Performance Package 4.0, which comes with Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver, and also comes with 2 free gifts, the Shed Travel Bag and the Manscaped Boxer Briefs. The Shed is a premium leather travel bag that's water-resistant, durable, and features a grab-and-go handle. And the Boxer Briefs have a microfiber blend to keep things cool down you-know-where. That's like gifts on top of gifts. So don't wait. Go to manscaped.com today and get 20% off plus free international shipping. Use promo code SOG at checkout. That's 20% off plus free international shipping with promo code SOG. Have dads join the 8 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and have the right tools for those family jewels. Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar. Welcome back to another episode of Haunted Gaming. Today we're covering a creepypasta known as Star Citizen. Yes, will this game ever release? Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to do a little dive into a game that I have been waiting for quite a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, Star Citizen is a game that I'm sure every single one of you have heard. And, you know, a few years ago I uploaded a video on my channel, pretty much an off-the-cuff stream segment, where I kind of crapped on Star Citizen incredibly. And the reality is, I'm a bit jaded from this game's development. Now, in recent months, I've come back to Star Citizen, played it, and part of me maybe has developed Stockholm Syndrome because I've kind of enjoyed my time. But the more and more I look into this game's development, the more and more it hurts. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Star Citizen is a space simulator exclusively for the PC that is beyond just a space simulator. It is, in fact, an ability for you to create a new life and live amongst the stars. I guess the best way to describe Star Citizen for a lot of people coming in is this game is effectively life, okay? It's not just your average MMO where you get into a few character classes, some gameplay loops, raid a few dungeons. No, this game is meant to replace life itself. You see, Star Citizen is best understood as a game where you can be a space delivery driver, okay? A space Amazon delivery agent. And the reality is there's plenty of other games like Star Citizen that give that niche. Games like Elite Dangerous. I guess one of the best ways to describe Star Citizen is like any other MMO. You would typically expect it to have character classes, your average gameplay loop. Imagine playing something like Elite Dangerous, for instance, right? You're delivering things, packages through space. You're a space Amazon delivery agent, right? Well, in Elite Dangerous, you buy a ship, you click through a few menus, and you transfer cargo onto your ship, and you go on your merry way. With Star Citizen, you pick up a contract, you go to a location, you move every goddamn box individually into your ship, you make sure your ship is ready to fly off and your cargo doesn't go anywhere, you fly to the other area, you put the boxes into your, into a box at your destination that probably doesn't work. You basically got to do every single aspect yourself. I wish I could show you more footage actually beyond trying to get into my plane, because I couldn't even access the menu to fix my plane, and at one point I couldn't even access the doorways, and the game consistently gave me a server crash, 30,000 whatever. I guess the server must have been overwhelmed with all... You know what? Let's just move on. The best way to describe the immersion of Star Citizen is if the game told you to take a leak, it literally wants you to find the bathroom yourself, go to the bathroom, unzip your pants through an interactive prompt, aim and piss, and then zip your pants up and call it a day. Other games would just make you press an interact button. No. Star Citizen makes you go above and beyond. This is life after all, ladies and gentlemen. Now, of course, with all of that said, I want to take you on to the beginning. Now, you can find plenty of developmental roadmaps throughout history that'll give you an absolute perfect description of how Star Citizen's development has gone for the last 10 years. But I wanted to apply a personal touch in my video and kind of look at this from the perspective of somebody that's been here since the Kickstarter. I've fallen off, I've come back, fallen off the wagon, and I've come back. Okay, this is a train wreck that I continuously monitor until I hope to see it actually release. So to start off with, Star Citizen launched its actual Kickstarter campaign, a crowdfunding campaign. Yes, Star Citizen is actually the best example of a crowdfunded project, because it has made the most crowdfunding money that I've ever seen. Now, Star Citizen also has investors from what I understand, but this is a game that has made $500 million. Yes, $500 million plus in just crowdfunding dollars, okay? Making it arguably the most successful crowdfunded project ever made. So here's the initial pitch over here, which is around $500,000. That's what they were asking for initially. They ended up getting $2.1 million and around 34,300 backers. Now, this was actually updated last April 6, 2013. So this is a long time ago, a decade ago, if you will, too, last updated. The pitch video is insane, too. It's like, they thought I was dead. They said console was the future. And obviously, you've got Chris Roberts and CGI Glory over here basically talking about Star Citizen, the game. Now, Chris Roberts is a central figure to the development. He is the designer of games like Wing Commander, which are games that are a little bit too old for me, but they had an all-star studded cast, absolutely great space dogfighting simulators. But of course, Chris Roberts was also one of the designers for one of my favorite games ever made, Freelancer, a game that allowed you to effectively not create a character, but play the role of a pilot, be part of an expansive campaign, and fly all over the stars, trade, fight, hunt bounties, do whatever you wanted. Compared to games nowadays, Freelancer is quite simple, but the gameplay loop is still engaging. Freelancer was supposed to have a sequel called Freelancer 2, where I believe it was supposed to release on the PC and Xbox 360, but it never got made, it got canceled. And even though it got canceled, to this day, it still has some of the coolest nebula cloud technology I've ever seen in any space simulator. It's a shame it'll never be released, and it's a shame that I haven't seen other games do similar tech. But at the same time, Freelancer is a far simplified project as compared to Star Citizen. If you have never played Freelancer, if you never played Wing Commander, I highly do recommend you give them a try. If you play those games and you realize the quality of those experiences, you can understand why people gave millions of dollars to Chris Roberts in this Kickstarter pitch. So even looking into it, of course now this is like CG work, but Chris Roberts wanted to effectively use CryEngine, which at the time was one of the prettiest looking game engines, and I believe Unreal 4 wasn't even available at this time. Chris took one of the prettier engines at the time and wanted to make a expansive space simulator out of it. This would bite him on the ass, but we're not there yet. So even in this footage, which is one of the reasons why I think it worked so well, is he actually did show, from what I understand, some actual gameplay. So here you can see that they had a character scratching their ass, looking around one of the largest hangars that I've seen in a while, and impressively detailed for 2013. Of course, you could even see ships kind of flying around too, so obviously people were like, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. He's a veteran in the industry. Let's throw some money. So real quick, Star Citizen is a rich universe focused on epic space adventure, trading, dogfighting in first person. That's all true, by the way. That's pretty much what the game intends to be. Single player, offline or online. As of now, not true. The game is an MMO, Persistent Universe. Persistent Universe, that's true, hosted by us. Moddable multiplayer. We don't have any moddable multiplayer, okay? This is a persistent MMO. No subscriptions. That's true. There are no subs for the game. No pay to win. Arguably not true. And we're going to get to their luxury ships really quick. So of course, pretty much after this, they had a bunch of stretch goals. So basically for 2 million, 2.5, 3 million, so on and so forth. They were going crazy, adding extra goals, extra ships, extra gameplay features. And from here, you can kind of see that as the funding increased, the feature creep also showcased, which when game development is a thing, feature creep is a bad thing to have. Feature creep is effectively the idea of, hey, we have a core game concept we want to make, but if we have time, let's add this extra feature to it. The problem with it is, unless you just keep adding modules and features, and you don't complete the core actual game, the game is going to be perpetually in development and nothing is going to get finished. You gotta make sure you have a solid foundation before you start branching off. But hey, I'm not a game developer, I'm just a guy on the internet. What do I know? So basically after this Kickstarter came out the Hangar module, and the Hangar module was effectively only for the backers and allowed people to actually go into a hangar, of course, and see some of the ships that they purchased. Now, I wasn't in this at the time because I couldn't really afford the Kickstarter back then, and so I didn't really do it. I didn't jump into it. I wish I did, because I would have liked to see the Hangar module, but unfortunately, never happened. But of course, when I had a little bit of money in my pocket, I bought the cheapest game package at the time. The $45, I believe it was the Mustang Alpha bundle, which allowed me to access the Wing Commander, not the Wing Commander, the Arena Commander game type, which actually at the time had a tutorial section which isn't even accessible in the game anymore. So you can see right over here that back in the day, and this is a 2015 video that we're actually watching, you could actually walk around in here, get a little bit of training, and actually access your ship and fly around and get some basic flight information. From what I understand, this isn't available. You pretty much have to rely on figuring out how to fly the ship yourself. The game does have a tutorial mode, but we'll get to all of that in a little bit. So of course, at this moment in time, I kind of fell off the game again because they didn't really have the persistent universe, they didn't really have much of the gameplay that we see today. Now, of course, it wasn't until years later that they introduced something known as the PU, the Persistent Universe, and some actual planets you could fly and land into. Unfortunately, the game was still very buggy, the frame rate was still bad, and for the few hours I played, I dabbled in and I backed the hell out immediately. I wanted to wait until the game was actually a bit more playable before putting hours of my life into it. Honestly, if anything, that was a bit more off-putting for me, and that's one of the reasons why I just had this on and off relationship with Star Citizen. 6 years ago, they actually produced a video where they showcased, during CitizenCon, their actual conventions, the Sandworm. Now, this is a very popular clip that a lot of people have watched if you were in the Star Citizen community, where basically they were actually like driving this ATV around, and you can actually see a dust storm in the distance over there. I have never noticed the dust storm and the electrical like storms going on ever in the actual game. But of course, by the time you actually get to the end, there's a moment you get off, you bring out weapons, you can actually explore a fair bit. But the most interesting part of this situation was the Sandworm. So get ready, get prepared, because things are about to get a little wild. So as they explore this entire section and they start to leave the area, you can see that these ships that, you know, Chris Roberts and Cloud Imperium Games are pushing look very, very detailed. In fact, the environments look detailed compared to other space games. It really does have that sense of scale that you don't see replicated in a lot of other big, massive games. Something like this in like No Man's Sky would have been like a tiny joke. In Star Citizen, it is literally 1-to-1 scale. So of course at this moment over here, ladies and gentlemen, the Sandworm is going to show up. So no joke, this is something you're about to see, whereas you see these people flying around, this massive Sandworm comes up, and this I honestly wanted to be in the game for the longest time. I told myself I was going to play this game when the Sandworm gets brought in. There is no Sandworm in the game as far as I've ever seen, okay? In fact, the running joke in the community is, can't wait until this comes out, my grandchildren will understand the hype. Truly, my great-grandchildren will get it. I'm actually just keeping it real. I'm keeping it $1.50 with you. I don't think this is gonna be out for a while, if ever. Now, if we go back to the amount of funding that this game is making, I again wasn't joking when I said this made over $500 million. Because if you go to Robert Space Industry, the site, and actually when it comes to accountability and it comes to transparency in the game development, nobody can say that Robert Space Industries isn't actually going out of their way to show you that they're actually working on a game. So they'll tell you the funding they make. $582 billion US, okay? Now if you look at their hourly stats, yeah, they even give you the hourly breakdown. Per hour, on average, it seems, for the last couple days, or, well, for literally tonight, they were making to the tune of over $27,445, okay? Every day, it seems like these guys are making some days $1.3 million, some days $979,000, $1.5 million, $1.1 million. Per month, they're pulling in $7.9 million, $23 million, okay, in one specific month. Ladies and gentlemen, you might be like, well, god damn, how are they actually getting that much money? Well, I'm going to show you exactly how things go. Thankfully, there is actually an event going on, the Invictus launch week 2953, because everything in this goddamn game has to be so in-universe. So, of course, let's look at what's going on. Well, you can buy ships from Drake Interplanetary. These are kind of companies in the world of Star Citizen. Yeah, they've got the lore locked down, okay? They've got company names, characters, so on and so forth. And if you actually look into their ship right now, how much do you think the average ship costs? Well, the Buccaneer, which is a rough and tumble frontline scrapper from Drake Interplanetary, costs $110 USD. What was that? What's that? Oh, no, that's actually the price right there. But you could fly it today for free, because there's an event and a free play moment right now. But of course, there's more vehicles. You can get the Caterpillar, haul anywhere at commercial volume. Yeah, do you want to be an Amazon logistics freight officer in space? Yeah, $330 right now. And you might be like, whoa, Mudu, that's just the ship value. No, go to the offer page right now. You can upgrade to $330, all right? That's just how Mafia works. Don't worry, dude. Sometimes it gets cheaper, okay? Like the Corsair, which seeks Uncharted at $250. This is actually what I have for $100. Yeah, I actually like cheaped out, okay? This is the cheapest ship that I own, the only ship that I own. I spent $100. There are games that come out with like deluxe edition that are worth less than this one ship that I bought, okay? But hey, we all make dumb financial decisions, don't we? But no, you can buy the Cutlass Blue, which is bad news for the bad guys and bad news for your wallet, $175. And then, of course, you've got the Cutlass Red, which is $135. That's a space ambulance. You want to be a space medic? Want to be a space EMT? Queue up $135. Then, of course, for $40, you can get those space ATVs that we saw a while back. Takes open air excitement to the extreme. Now, you can get the Herald for $85. Now, I want you to, like, get ready for this one. Get prepared. How much do you think the Kraken, which is the self-sustaining flying fortress, is going to cost? 200, 300, 400, $1,650 US, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we're getting to this point. Oh, don't worry, guys. You can get the Kraken Privateer for $2 grand. $2 grand, you're saying? Muda, that can't be real. Well, that's what they've said the ship value is. Now, ladies and gentlemen, like a lot of ships in this game, those still aren't even the average expensive ones. There's ships more expensive than what I have shown you. And some of those ships are actually rare, meaning only a limited amount of them get made. Yes, I would say Star Citizen is kind of responsible for a lot of ills of modern AAA gaming. Yeah, these are the guys that do digital scarcity with actual digital goods. Now, I personally, as a gamer, as somebody that plays titles digitally, there is no such thing as digital fucking scarcity. If Chris Roberts and team want to create a ship worth $1,000 and only sell like a couple hundred of them, yeah, they'll get sold out in minutes. But guess what? That doesn't have to be a limited time drop. They're just going off the psychology of a lot of people who actually will look at these things with FOMO, all right? People who have the fear of missing out, the need to want something a little bit scarce. They're literally appealing to the whales in this situation. Now, this is where I have a serious problem with this game and like the absolute crap performance so far, even in the alpha. And I get it, it's an alpha. But this is an event week where they want to basically raise money.
13
and from what I've understood,
bandits.
they've raised millions of dollars because, of course, whales will buy ships and people will just chuck money at stuff. The thing about this is, had the game been more polished, they probably could have made a lot
good,
more.
I got an achievement.
Now, it's interesting that for a game in alpha, they constantly run these events to try to get people to keep constantly funneling money into this project, which honestly should pretty much stick to its roadmap and focus on not just releasing their single-player component, but also fixing up the general feel.
Okay, guys, it is 6:30 in the morning. I'm going to stop. I have been at it for 13 hours and 40 minutes. That's usually right around my customary time. This seemed like a natural place to stop because I hadn't died in a while and doing good on all the other games and stuff. And I'm ready to go to bed. Going to be on later today for a good Thursday, but I am going to sleep and then exercise and do real life stuff, and then I'll be on this evening or afternoon, sometime this afternoon in about 8 or 10 hours. Hey, look, Horizon patched. I wonder what they patched. Oh yeah, hotfix for what? Let's see. Thank you. Fix for performance regression when using a DualSense controller. Fix for missing prompts when using a controller after starting the game. That's it, though, huh? Nothing else? Okay, well. Oh. Various crash fixes and stability improvements resolved an issue that prevented players from claiming rewards at the hunting grounds when using the mouse. The HDR max luminance slider now functions correctly. The game is now able to save when the DOS folder is rerouted to the root of a drive instead of a folder. DLSS 3 frame generation is now active in cutscenes, and while UI screens such as the weapon wield are displayed, photo mode now shows the correct hide UI, fixed the bug that could result in multiple quest categories, resolved the bug that caused the mouse cursor offset on the map on resolution setting. Oh, good. So, wow, Forbidden West patched, and that's cool. That's good to see. So I believe I will stop here. So thank you so much for your time, guys. Just a reminder, you've been watching. So I was just like looking at my list there at the horizon and all that. I'm tempted to try it, but I'll just get sucked back in, you know. So I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead. Just a reminder, you've been watching Skycat Live. My website is skycat.live. I'm a full-time variety gamer all day, every day. Put me on in the background. I'm limping in at the end of a 14-hour shift. I do about, 8 to 14 hours a day every single day. Don't know what it's going to be when it happens. And today it was about 13 hours and 45 minutes. So I just want to say thank you. I love you, and I appreciate your time, and thank you for hanging out with me. Come click on the cat's face to donate if you're watching me on YouTube, or come click on give me a like sub on Twitch, and I'll keep moving forward for you, and I'll keep giving you stuff, keep giving you good content and all that. Got a good mortal kill tonight. That's good. I'm starting to see all the little victories in all the games as they come in, and it's fun, and I enjoy it. I like mortal. I got to keep a horse longer, but I mean, yeah. Can start really working. Like now, I think I probably will take a horse to go kill bandits, and I will take it a little bit more seriously, and get my mission done, and then turn in and stash that gold and try to buy a house. I'll buy it wherever the bandit place is, and I'll live by the bandit place, and I'll do their town mission all the time, and that'll be fun, and kill people that come to that place. That'll be fun. So anyways, and I really enjoyed my session today. I didn't get around to any Fortnite tonight, but I mean, it's the end of the night, and it's good to let Fortnite go for a night. I've been playing too much Fortnite, and it's good to let it go for a couple days, let it rest, let the skills soak in, let the rest go by, sleep on it, get a couple nights under you, and the Fortnite seems a lot better when you come back. So anyways, I love you guys. Thank you so much for your time. I'll see you this evening, and thank you so much. Oh, one more thing. This session. Sorry, swallow wrong. This session has been recorded, and it will be on my YouTube channel. I've been posting all of my sessions to my YouTube channel, and this 14 hours will be posted to my YouTube channel, which is reflected here. As you can see, I have a lot of videos here on my YouTube channel, and it's going through, doing pretty good in terms of views and stuff. Seeing a lot of steady, and I like steady. And so thank you so much for your time, and I love you guys, and I will see you later. You have a good evening. Bye.